the theme song. It's the theme song. Shh, I want to hear this. Here it comes. Here it comes.
Spending too much time with goblins. I hear them whispering to me. Every time I try to solve a problem, oh, there's just another goblin, alright. Just another goblin in my life.
And we're back. Oh no, we lost Lisa. Lisa's gone.
Yeah, she disappeared on us.
Oh no!
Oh, there she is.
There she
is. Yeah, all right.
Come here.
We barely made it through. Oh no, everybody.
Amazing.
Okay, everybody, welcome to Goblin Town. Wait. Okay, yeah, I think it's over there somewhere. Okay, everyone is welcome to Goblin Town. Today we're discussing... We're gonna discuss our favorite oatmeal recipe.
Oh god.
You laugh, but I bought the sardines this weekend.
So I don't know if anybody was looking at my tweets like yesterday or the day before. I put out a really kind of rant, like a weird tweet of me going crazy. Oatmeal and sardines, everybody. Oatmeal and sardines are the key. Yeah. All right. Okay, I'm gonna ask Anna because I can't see her face right now. So Anna,
Okay.
what do you want to talk about first on Goblin Town?
What? Oh my god, I'm being punished for not turning on my camera.
Yes, you are.
Well, first off, since we're recording, my camera is off because it is unnaturally hot in Washington and I'm dying, and it's very, very obvious how much in pain I am with the heat on my face. So that's why my camera's off.
I'm really surprised because here in Southern California, it's like overcast and cool. It's like low 70s.
Wonderful. That is absolutely wonderful. It is so hot that I don't even want to put my feet on the floor.
How hot is it in Washington State?
Scared to find out. I'm such a baby with heat. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm gonna look this up
Let me put it this way.
on
Is it
the
hot
internet.
enough that your cougar cheese is melting inside the can?
Hold on now. It is 60 degrees.
60?
Wait a minute.
60
What?
right now.
60 is not hot?
It's hot for me.
What?
Isn't it like
We're doing
rainy over
60 is
there?
not- 60 is gorgeous.
No, that's the west side. You
Oh,
have to look on the east side. So
Are you talking 60 Fahrenheit or 60 Celsius?
60 Fahrenheit.
how is it supposed to be 60 Celsius? 60 Celsius is like
That's
you're literally
cold for
like,
me.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Anything under 70, and I'm like, it's freezing.
Oh, shut up.
It is 91 degrees here, okay? So don't give me this. It's hot at 60 degrees Fahrenheit.
I'm getting outed today.
Okay, so you want to talk
Well,
about weather patterns in Goblin Town? The 12 feet of snow? Is that what you want?
Like
12 feet of snow?
the 12 feet of snow, freaking snowstorm.
Oh, I am never going to live that down, am I?
I don't have
You
to make it
and Jake, it's
D12.
both your
Jake
guys'
and I are
fault.
like the New Englanders are never going to live that down.
Well, guys, what should we dig into today on this very special episode of digging into Goblin Town, because one of us is not here.
Hmm. We could definitely dig into Oak Ridge and the convention and the university and all that. Or what about is there anything we encountered on our trip from the Mesa that might be interesting to talk about?
I mean, we did go.
Besides the 12 inches of snow that I did.
I mean, we did go back to the Shovel Hobbs
Yeah.
archaeology camp.
True.
The temple where we didn't want to excavate because it'll release a curse.
Right.
Most likely.
I don't think we did digging into Goblin Town episodes on those particular locations yet.
Mm-mm.
I know we did. We started doing these kinds of special episodes with the butcher shop. And then I'm having a hard time recalling what the other two were. I think one of them was just kind of general, and then I might not have been there for the third one.
One of you guys like already talked about the Mesa. Like I remember Michael talking about how evil the boxes looked like. Evil. Evil.
Oh, was it? I think we talked about it during our con session, didn't we?
Oh, the after one. The afterward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, also too, for those in chat as well, hopefully we can just continue to remind our viewers that if you have any questions about our campaign too, this is a really, really great time to ask us, as we are not playing in character right now, and we are now the archaeologists behind the players. So,
although you're very much the archaeologists as characters as well sometimes.
I know. Which makes things so frustrating for you.
Off, dude. It's hard to turn it off.
It's so hard to turn it off. Well, one thing about that too is like, because a lot of people know by now that I had another career before going into archaeology, and in knowing people in different careers too, this is a weird one. This is a very weird one, because for archaeologists, a lot of us, it's like we work in archaeology, our hobby is archaeology, our interests are archaeology, we like to watch archaeology on TV, our friends are archaeologists. It's like
you're obsessed.
Everything.
So what you're saying, Anna, is it's a cult?
It's a lifestyle, but yeah, it's a cult. So, but yeah, if there's any questions about the campaign, love to answer those. But otherwise, yeah.
I have a question for Dagmar.
Oh, come on.
Is it not like for? I'm not doing like a inside the actors. See, I have a question for Dagmar's, the person who running Dagmar, for Anna. What on earth possessed Dagmar to separate from everybody else and try to sleep, like kick all the other goblins out and sleep in the tent and then on the roof? And what started that whole debacle? Because my jaw was on the floor. Like, why on earth is she doing this?
Well, she's it's a typical Jake. Or sorry, not Jake. Jake's not here. Sorry, Michael. I have the answer for you. Ritual.
Oh, shit.
She was asserting her dominance.
If you don't know what it was, it's ritual.
There it is. I was asserting my dominance. We had just we went through a tick-infested forest, and I understand where she's coming from so well that when you're going through freaking tick heaven and all that, and the journey that she's been through and sleeping outside for so long, Dagmar wanted some comfort, wanted to sleep on a bed and be in a larger tent and all this stuff, and she saw these little goblins as obstacles in her way of getting that. So,
And
asking never even remotely occurred to her.
No.
She's a barbarian. What do you expect?
You see where she comes from.
You don't ask, you just take.
You don't ask, you just take. Okay, I get it. I totally get it now.
Yeah. I mean, Dagmar was a war hero where she came from, so like if she tried to take anything away from somebody, that person would just be like, "Oh my god, Dagmar, please take it, please take it." And these goblins were like, "What are you doing, you freak?" And then our lovely DM thought to make that situation insane.
Listen, every day we choose violence in this
Every
campaign.
day. That's what our server taught us.
Well, I made another song. Okay, I made a second song. If you'd like it,
Oh no! Oh no!
Here.
it's a more general one.
Are we gonna hear it today?
Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
I vote yes.
Okay. So
Do it,
me.
do it.
Okay. Let me see. Do I have a little tea here? There we go. Let's see. I'm reading my notes. That's what I was looking for here. Okay, so here we go. So gobbly wobbly dumpity dee. We have another sight to see. Gobbly wobbly dumpity deft. Put datum in the bottom left. How do we create past reconstruction when digging causes a site's deconstruction or destruction? Here we study archaeology, its techniques and methodology. Remember to label your bags. Gobbly wobbly dumpity dab. The field takes a lot less time than the lab. You will need to budget your time, just like the shovel hobs. Dumpity dime. It's really hard to get the weird because they have a weird beat, and there's a certain emphasis and de-emphasis when you pronounce words, so it really messes with you sometimes.
Oh my god! I think Daryl just summed up all of CRM in a song. Amazing.
Okay, so Michael, you got to teach that to your students.
I totally do. You got to send me those lyrics.
Heck
Okay,
yeah!
well.
Oh, I actually have a Twitch question for Daryl and/or anybody else who can answer it.
Yeah.
I want to figure out a way how to download the Twitch chat from my Skeleton Key one shot back in October, so I can sort through it and find other ways to torture you all.
The chat?
So I don't think there is a way to actually recover unless if there's another streamer in chat or somebody that actually knows a way to recover past chat. I think the only way for you to access that would be to watch the video.
But that's the thing is I've watched the video on both on YouTube, and I can't read the chat. So would I be able to is there
tiny? Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see some of it though.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, maybe I'd be able to do past Twitch streams on the Archeo Gaming channel.
Possibly.
Would have it, maybe.
Well,
maybe.
as far as I know, Twitch doesn't really archive things unless somebody deliberately clicks archive.
Yeah, so it keeps old streams for so many months, and then it starts purging them to make room for new stuff. If you stream constantly or consistently.
Yeah.
Really, it archives your stuff? I don't think I have an archive on my stuff.
It's only if you're affiliate.
Well, there you go.
Oh, well, I'm not an affiliate. Well, actually, you don't have to be an affiliate because it archives my stuff for 2 months. There's a thing in settings, but it's automatically turned off. You just have to go and turn it on.
Oh, well, there you go.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but I can see some of the chat. I could try to transcribe some of this.
Good golly, this is digital archaeology. This is digital archaeology.
I already tortured you so much, Anna, in terms of just the length of your journal entry for that 5-hour session, that I am not going to drag you through that.
Well, I mean, that's another thing I could do. Geez, I don't know how many pages that was, but I can take good pictures if you can read my dumb cursive, if that would help. It's all from my character's perspective, though.
It's fine. I just thought I just thought about like if there was like an easy way to do it, but if there's no easy way to do it, then that's fine. That's fine. It'll be okay.
Not disappointed at all.
I might just take
Yeah.
matters into my own hands at this point.
By the way, Daryl, I love that barrel vault
Oh,
Yeah.
that you
well,
drew there
Yeah.
from the mesa. Yeah.
I gotta put a dinosaur in there.
Oh God.
Still
Now,
embarrassing.
what was the impetus behind the piles of dirt
Oh,
along
it's
the edges?
just
Like erosion or
partially erosion and also because
windblown
it's
sediment or
I'm trying to remember how was I thinking about it. It's partially erosion and partially also because right dirt's coming in through the roof, and so it's slowly filling up, right? There's a little bit of wind coming in. Um Maybe a little bit of the ceiling coming in, just a little bit. I think so. I can't remember specifically if I had thought of a particular reason for that.
I
Now you
almost
have me
didn't
really
want to
thinking
leave
like,
that.
how would the dirt actually sort of fill in the spots in it? I would figure more dirt toward the cave where the roof is caved in. Of course, like things coming in and out, they'll drag and move the dirt around. But I don't know. I can't think of where to go.
Yeah, see, I would look at that and think that there was like erosion, like leaks from the outside and stuff is like
yeah,
sediments washing in. Like,
because it looks like almost like points of like slope wash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You would
or an
think that.
alluvial fan.
Oh God, you'd think that the ground directly underneath the hole at the top would be a little bit more flat, considering like depending on how much rain there is
Mm.
in this area, pouring in from that particular hole down directly, and then pushing the sediments outwards.
You
Now I have to redo
realize
this
that
painting. This painting is terrible. I hate it. Delete everything.
no,
Delete it.
now
Delete it
you
all.
just realize you gave him an idea to drown us in a large barrel vault.
No, but the thing is, I can say all this because we're not in there anymore.
He can make a new one. He's a DM. He can totally make a new one.
Oh my God.
He's the great and powerful Oz.
Oh God. Oh no, Daryl's stroking his mustache maniacally.
Think. Let's see here.
Oh shit.
If no one has, does anybody else have any other questions? Because if not, I have one for Bry.
No questions here.
I want to wait and see if anybody has one.
I'm sure there'll be more questions throughout. Just go ahead.
All right. I want to know, where did you get the idea for Janera's connection to the warlord
Mm.
and the connection to, the idea of the connection between the warlord as your brother and the artifacts too? Was that a stroke of genius, or did you just have a stroke?
Maybe both. I kind of like, it had been kind of like gnawing in the back of my head since Daryl had first mentioned this warlord, and then had talked about him being a hobgoblin, and I'm like, okay. I was kind of like shaping Janera's backstory, and I'm like, okay, I want her to be like not well known here in Goblin Town. Like, she's only just kind of showed up here in the last, 6 months or so. And, obviously she's kind of known within the hobgoblin part of the city, but not so much anywhere else. And I lean towards her having like a very a very strong connection to history, and having an interest in that type of stuff, but I didn't really, until much later as Daryl started introducing these concepts and these things about these cursed objects and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, maybe that makes sense to me at least, that's why she's here, that these are things that interest her. Either she's come across them, and as we were progressing and Daryl and I talked more, it was like, okay, here's the backstory, kind of snippets and stuff that I gave Daryl about what I was thinking as far as like Kulog and Janera and that whole backstory there. And then I was like, okay, well, Daryl had mentioned early on about Kulog, the warlord, having this ruby eye. And that stuck with me. And then as we progressed into the campaign and things started happening with these artifacts, and Daryl was creating more of this mythos of this ancient world and culture that exists and created these artifacts, I'm like, okay, what if the ruby is one of these artifacts? And so then I started to think about, okay, well, then if Kulog is Janera's brother, what would have happened to cause all this? Because obviously in my mind, I never saw Janera as being a bad guy. I never saw her as being a bad person. So I'm like, okay, well, what would have happened to her and her brother to where her brother would go in such a drastic, different path, right? And so that's when I start to think about these artifacts. And as Daryl was creating more of this mythos, it just kind of dawned on me, okay, well, it makes sense to me that Kulog wasn't always this way. And something happened to both of them. And in a lot of ways, maybe the artifacts are responsible. And this ruby that he has maybe is part of the problem. And then, as we talked about it, Daryl was like, okay, well, if you're thinking, because that's when I also decide, okay, the ringlet that Janera wears on her head needs to be one of these artifacts. It just makes sense. And he's like, okay, so we got to figure out, are you cursed? Obviously, you got to be cursed. And so we won't discuss any more of that because that's future stuff that you guys will have to investigate.
We'll find out.
And find out. But yeah, it's just it wasn't all there to begin with. It's really like had to come together as we've shaped the story together and as Daryl's come up with these concepts. And I'm just kind of like, because I like telling stories too. Like I like to write fiction and stuff. And this was an opportunity. I'm sorry, what?
Slash fiction? I'm kidding.
Slash fiction. And so this was an opportunity for me to kind of like dive back into that part of me that I really haven't had an opportunity to enjoy so much because I have a real life. And so that gave me an opportunity to kind of like think of a story that I could help add to this world. And yeah, so it's been cool. And I really am interested to see how you guys shape how this thing continues to go and the surprises and things for the future.
I like how you're putting that on us, where it's like I'm thinking, is Janera going to kill us or not? We'll see. We'll find out, I guess.
Well,
Take the ringlet, she will.
Is the curse a static thing, or does it get worse and worse and worse over time?
Mm-hmm.
He's actually
Yeah.
Because the different objects had different curses too. We saw that in the Mesa. The different objects had different curses.
Lycanthropy.
Yeah.
Lycanthropy.
And it's cool too, because like the earliest I can remember Janera talking about her brother was back at I think it was a hobgoblin boarding house or a school.
Yeah, with the kids.
Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember one of the kids was just like kind of trying to threaten her, but then recognized who she was in correlation to her brother and then backed off. And I think, Janera, you were saying something like, don't mess with me, or you'll get in trouble with my brother or something. And then they all knew what that meant, and we were just, whoever was there with you was just like, it might have been me, I'm not sure, but we were just like, oh gosh, who's this brother? But then you didn't spill.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the academy.
Genius.
That was actually when you were talking to the two guards. Let me see. I can't remember their names now.
Oh, I think you're right. I think
It's
you're
the
right.
two
Oh, yeah.
guards. Let me look
It was
up
around
their
that same time,
names.
though. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's absolute genius, and I love that it came out when we were trying to use the Zone of Truth spell on these other bad guys, but we ended up getting whammied with it ourselves too.
Whammy.
So genius to reveal it then.
Okay, so the two names for the hobgoblins I got is Gobo Pig Iron and Gerald Brass.
Oh my god.
Gerald Brass.
Girl.
Gerald.
I've seen that some campaigns do like Patreons or things like that where like audience can submit name recommendations. We should totally do something like that on Twitter.
Great idea.
Bodie
Let's do that.
McBoatface.
Well, we don't have to abide by them. We can just
Yeah.
ask for suggestions. It doesn't have to be a poll or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever. I might submit some. But yeah, that was a really, really cool character arc. And then also, I guess I have a question for Aetheri as well. Aetheri has killed some folks now. Was that always an intentional kind of like that stone cold killer mode that Aetheri can kind of enter? Has that always been there? Was that intentional for her character, or?
I didn't intend her to be a fighter at all. She was just a rogue thief,
Mm-hmm.
who learned how to steal but didn't like it, had some bad experiences with thieves and kind of turned good. So, she's willing to steal, from bad people to give to good people, kind of Robin Hood like.
Robin Hood, yeah.
Story. But no, she was never meant to be a fighter, but for some reason she ends up in these situations where she can do something, she can shoot an arrow, or I don't know. I don't know why we have a barbarian and a monk, so it's really weird that the half elf turned out to be the fighter in this, and that was never intended, but
Not so much the fighter as the assassin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, it's like, oh, if a fight is being dragged out for far too long, we just send in Aetheri. The finisher.
I think because I have, it's not so much the stealth, but like I've got dexterity, high dex, and speed. Maybe I don't know why she's so lethal.
The accidental killer.
Well, the one with Moo was just a situation where it was dragging on, and it was like, are we going to kill her or not?
I'm still upset about that.
You're upset about that?
About the dragging it on, or about killing her?
Okay, so this is gonna be our Festivus. This is gonna be my Festivus, the airing of grievances.
Uh-oh.
Let's hear it.
Okay.
I'm in trouble.
Okay. No, well, I'm not so much angry that Aetheri killed Moo. That's I mean, what I'm personally upset about, incredibly upset and disappointed, is that right, like. Because you guys are kind of like, okay, like you bring in this archaeological perspective to this game, right? And I would have thought that you would have, like, in that site. I'm actually gonna pull up a picture of the mesa so that everybody knows what I'm talking about. What I'm gonna rant about. So, right at the mesa, right, is an archaeological site that's being looted. And I would have thought that you would have approached this at a more systemic level. Like, okay, what can we do to the site itself to make sure that people don't loot it? Which would be to bury the site, right? Gradal had the earth bending. I can't remember the name of it, but the earth bending.
Yeah.
You had the dinosaur who was your friend. You could have Flintstones it. later on you had the explosive from Moo, and I showed you that the explosive can help cave in the area, but in the end, like, no, you have to police the site, and you have to have punitive action. So it's like, no, we have to go to this individual and make an example of them. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Well, I can't speak for everybody else, but I can answer this for me. Part of it is because that's the form of enforcement that we're used to.
I see.
It's not the correct form. It's not what we should be doing to protect sites, but it seems like that's what happens after the fact, is enforcement after the fact, is antiquities dealers get prosecuted, looters or the people at the lowest rung of the chain end up getting in jail or killed, and the people who actually drive the trade get away scot-free. In terms of burying the site, I don't know. I think as archaeologists, we also think that like sites are it doesn't matter if they're buried. If people want something, they'll come out and dig it up again and make it unburied.
Yeah, but like that's
You
more
know, maybe
effort,
that
though,
attitude
right?
of like
But the effort
it's
they
more
have
effort,
to.
but people still do it. People still do it. What do other people think? I mean, why did we kill her instead of burying the site?
I mean, so Janera was very much against killing Moo. But I think from my standpoint, I agree with Michael on this, is that we were thinking too much like archaeologists,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like, it was
Shocker, I know.
we don't want the site to be looted, but we also don't want to destroy the site because there's so much research potential.
Right.
So it's like, I think the motivation there for us is, instead of thinking like our characters, we're thinking like ourselves, which is a common issue that we have. But we were, I think, in a lot of ways, we were thinking, okay, well, let's public archaeology this. Like, yeah, obviously things with Moo went south and became a very like vigilante serving justice situation. But after that, then we're like, okay, well, we need to go and talk to people about the dangers of this. We need to make them aware that, hey, these things are causing harm. And it's not just causing harm to, the site, the culture, the history. It's causing harm to actual people. So it's like, if you thought about it, like today, for example, things don't actually have curses on them. I mean, but cultures and the descendant communities oftentimes would say that, hey, if you take this stuff, there's consequences for it on a spiritual and on a different level, besides just the earthly laws that we have ascribed to archaeology. And that's like, that's where all of the mummy curses and all of that stuff comes from. Is it was a way to protect their stuff from looters, both of the time and obviously modern day looters. And so in a way, we're showing that in the campaign. Of course, all of these things are actually cursed and are causing harm, but by making people aware of that, hey, don't go taking this stuff because there's serious consequences. Not just that, we're going to sick our rogue elf on you, but but that you could become cursed, or you could end up cursing other people.
Right.
I think it's also another part of that is letting people know how serious, at least in real life, how serious antiquities trafficking is or can be. Hold on, I need to say goodnight to my son. People have been killed over this thing, and people still don't think of it as a serious situation.
Right.
I know we're just talking, so you need to get in your jams. Give me hugs. Oh, by the way, did you want to tell them what did we do earlier this week? You and Daddy played our first D&D game. Yes.
Oh my gosh!
Awesome.
You had it. What was your character? You forget? Yeah. You were a dragonborn blood hunter, right? Yeah. Chaotic evil, of course.
Excellent.
Oh my
Because every child is chaotic evil.
Fair.
Oh
All right.
my god.
Bye, sweetheart. Go get in your jams.
So
Get
cute.
Get. But I mean, yeah. So like back to the idea of like I was looking just at something today where Cambodia is requesting that the British Museum return stolen objects that were looted during the reign of the Khmer Rouge, and of course every article is both sidesing this thing and putting quotation marks under the term stolen. You know, we know that they were stolen. You know, Douglas Latchford was convicted. We have the evidence,
Mhm.
you know, that this was going on and that these objects are stolen, but they're like, it's museums, so it's not really stealing, is really what a lot of museums are saying.
Yeah.
Sweetheart, come on.
Well, and
I love you.
that's the thing that
Love you.
like
Go get your jams.
as a field that we really are struggling with is understanding that we just went and took stuff and it was like, oh, this is really cool. Let's go ahead and just take it back home with us. And, a lot of stuff ends up in museums because a lot of archaeological expeditions and digs were, funded by super rich people, and super rich people were the ones that were like, oh yeah, give it to me for a private collection, or and then they die and their family doesn't want to deal with it anymore, and they're like, okay, let's just dump it at the museum. And so, in the case of the British Museum, like, they know exactly where all that stuff comes from and it should be returned. Like, none of that stuff should be sitting in a museum. At least not a museum in Britain. And, but like stateside, local museums, a lot of times they just get stuff dumped on them and they have no idea where any of it comes from. And they don't know what to do with it. And I think that we need to put in a greater effort on not only educating the public on, how harmful just taking stuff is, and understanding that you're tearing pages out of a storybook, or you're taking away pieces to a puzzle, and we're then unable to complete that picture. And that if you take these things, like, I've heard a story, a local story, somebody's grandfather was a looter. Basically, he went and would find arrowheads and projectile points and pottery, and just kept all this stuff because it was cool, and had a collection. He then passed away, and the grandson finds all this stuff and is like, what do I do with this? And have to give the props to the grandson, because he did what I feel is the right thing in that circumstance, is that he tried to figure out who that stuff belonged to. Like, what descendant community is associated with those artifacts. And when he was able to figure out who they belonged to, he gave them back. It wasn't just, let me go dump this off at the museum. It was like, okay, I know that this series of projectile points, arrowheads, and this type of pottery is linked to the Southern Paiute. So let me go and talk to the Southern Paiute tribes and be like, okay, we have various different kinds of Southern Paiute tribes. There's, locally we have at least two. And finding out which tribe is connected to this cultural resource, and then make sure that they get that back. And so one of the tribes that I work with, the Mwapa Band of Paiutes, they have in their main office center, they have in the foyer a little display of their cultural items, and there sits one of these pieces of pottery that this gentleman looted and his grandson returned to them. And so I think that we need to push that idea that, especially when it comes to museums, like, you know where this stuff comes from, just give it back.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm kind of like blabbering at this point, but if anybody else has anything to add.
Because like that story of the looter, the grandpa, like we've all heard stories like that. There's a well-known looter here in Washington that was infamous for looting along the Middle Columbia River. And
In the middle of the river?
there's like an upper and a lower Columbia, and so middle, kind of like central Washington region. And this looter, he would try to sell the projectile points and other types of artifacts that he was finding to black market or to pawn shops or to private collectors that he knew of. And, you know, he networked and collected this series of contacts of other collectors and looters over the years. And what had ended up happening is he got sick, so he started trying to sell frantically everything he had, including his own personal collection. And a lot of the local tribes in the area tried to contact him to purchase some of the artifacts he had in his personal collection, and he said no. He did not want to give, he specifically didn't want to give anything back to tribes. And I
Not
think
even for
what
money?
even for money. And so I think in the last year or so, I've heard that his two daughters, after he had passed, had given the artifacts back to the tribes that were requesting them and did the right thing. But I mean, this sort of thing is so common. I mean, I went into a store in northern Idaho, I think last year or the year before, and I was seeing burial cloth and other types of projectile points and stuff throughout the Pacific Northwest in the store for ludicrous prices, but they shouldn't be in the store at all to begin with. And so I just think it's really clever that in this campaign we're turning the artifacts into cursed objects instead, because for a lot of the local tribes in my region, the possession of artifacts like this does, you know, in their cultural and traditional beliefs, it is cursed to own these items. It is cursed to take these items away from where they belong. And that's essentially what looters are doing. And being a lithic specialist as well, I've been told by numerous tribal members now that if I were to touch a projectile point that was created for the intention of killing humans, that negative energy would wash over me. And I'm thinking about all the different projectile points I've touched in labs or in the field over the years, and I'm thinking, you know, like, how much negative energy washed over me. And so I think it's really clever that Daryl put this in the lore, put this idea of cursed objects onto items that we're familiar with as archaeologists. And he's writing more.
Mm-hmm. This was his intention. He's all like, let's just do a digging episode so I can get more material.
Yeah.
Well, like honestly, like my plans for the conference are huge, tremendous, like global in scale. And I'm just hoping I have everything. Actually, I'm kind of secretly happy that we're sort of keep delaying it because I have to draw a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm absolutely hoping that the conference breaks your mind. And you're just like, no, I'm not. I don't want to do this anymore.
Oh god.
Oh jeez.
Did this become a Call of Cthulhu campaign?
Oh, you'll love it. You'll love it. And
don't steal my thunder. It's my job to traumatize these people with the horror stuff every Halloween.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't follow the skeleton key route. I will not have it.
Well, it just in
Oh,
so many
Skeleton Key is
levels.
funny on Halloween. On Halloween, being scared can be a lot of fun, but not every D&D campaign.
Oh,
Yeah.
Or not every
you'll
D&D game.
see.
Our main one.
Yeah. But
Mr. Rogers shows up in Goblin Town, I'm out.
Don't speak of that.
no, you're not going to see hardly any Mr. Rogers in Skeleton Key Part 2. I'm going to come at you from a entirely different angle.
Oh God.
So I have some thoughts. I have some ideas that I'm very excited for. And Bri, I'm very excited to have you tag along as
As the deceased.
deceased Denise. Because the fun thing is, I love the idea of all the characters have a ghost that only they can see and talk to, and everybody else in the world, like all the NPCs, just think they're nuts.
This
So
is
it's
a
going to
great
create some
idea.
really fun and really funny encounters of like, the characters better get one of those Bluetooth things, or people are going to think they're crazy.
Oh my God. I'm just gonna say if there's no Mr. Rogers, if you bring in Bob Ross
Oh no,
and poison that for me, I'll never forgive you.
I am not going to. I'm going to come at you from a completely different angle. I'm not going to do hard. This one's going to be more of a mystery horror. There's going to be plenty of scary stuff, but it's going to be more. We'll see where we'll see where we go. We'll see where we go. So
Daryl chooses the spookiest image we have from the Goblin Town campaign during this discussion. We better get Daryl for the second episode of Skeleton Key. That was sad that you weren't there for the first part.
Yeah,
oh
hopefully.
yeah, we want to get you there for the second part. I hope you would. I hope you had a chance to check out the live stream, Daryl, and enjoy it. Some of it.
Yeah. And
As we
hopefully
did
Sarah
everything
can
but
join us
cry.
too.
Mm.
Huh? What?
As we did everything during that campaign but cry, I was near the point of crying.
I know, I cried.
Oh God.
Michael
right.
broke me with something that he said, so
Oh, what did I do?
That's right.
What did I do?
Oh my God.
Feel
What did
bad
you
now.
So like at the end, so like Doreen's already dead, right?
But
Okay.
Doreen, yes.
But so it's where we've hit the climax to figure out what happened when we were kids and what the whole situation, why the house is haunted and who this little girl is and all that stuff. And it was when we were it was my character and Kat's character, as the older kids trying to shoo off the little girl. It's like, you're too little to play with us. And of course, Anna and Jake's character, they're the younger kids, and they're like, no, come play with us. And you're just like, well, why don't we go play hide and seek or whatever? And then, like, my character is just like a complete fucking bitch to her. It's like, we don't want to play with you. Like, go away. And she's like, you guys don't ever want to play with me. And no, no, no. And that broke me because that's what my sister always said to me. And then when like we're fighting over the Ouija board and she then falls and like all of this is happening while she's like, you never want to play with me, and then she falls down the fucking like dumbwaiter shaft. I just was like, God damn it, my sister. It was my little sister, you killed her. And then of course you know the fact that like Anna was also my little sister.
Yeah.
Like Anna kind of like also in a lot of ways reflected kind of like mine and my sister's relationship when we were little kids. And so it was like when we got to that moment, it just like I'm all like, I'm done, and just was like sobbing.
Oh
I
god.
feel so bad. On the one hand, I feel so bad. On the other hand, I'm so happy that I was able to create something that was not only like, scary for Halloween, but also like I really wanted to go with that Haunting of Hill House vibe, where
Mhm.
Oh my god, you did.
it was both really, really terrifying horror story, but it was also this family drama
Mhm.
because the fight between Doreen and the other PCs and Elaine, little Elaine, the little girl. My sister and I used to have fights like that all the time, and when you're a family and you have that shared history and that shared background and you love each other and you know each other, but because you know each other so well, you're also able to say the most hurtful things, like zero in on the one thing that's going to destroy that other person.
Mhm.
And I feel bad that I really do feel bad that I made you feel that way, and I feel so sad that I'm actually tearing up a little bit myself over it.
You
Aw.
don't mean it. You don't mean it. You
But
enjoyed every minute of it, Mike.
but on the other hand, I'm very happy that I was able to create something that was emotionally impactful too.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Extremely so. I mean, I've got aphantasia, so I can't see images in my head, but when I reflect on that campaign, I have a really difficult time separating it from like the Haunting of Blank House series on Netflix. Like sometimes I think that it's just another season that I watched because it was just so like, that family drama you're talking about that exists in so many different families. Everyone can relate to that sort of thing, but then such a simple twist broke this family apart, and turned things so much darker, right? And that's very much like that series on Netflix, what that does. And the part that broke me was when you killed you killed Doreen. And then I'm thinking, oh, I just lost my older sister, and then I have it in my journal here, the whole like when I thought I saw her as a ghost, and I said, Doreen, is that you? And then Bri, you said back to me, go, I've got this now.
Oh, that like twist at the end.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
you're trying to open the door at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm all like, wait a second, can
Yeah.
I force her
Yeah.
ghost out of this guy's body and take
Yeah.
control of his body?
Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
like, how will I be able to live without you? Because I was kind of a dependent sister. And you said, you don't need me anymore. You have everything you need. Go live your life. I
Yeah.
was like, what the fuck? How could you do this to me?
Well, I love that too because that was also at the end of that last episode of Haunting of Hill House. That was kind of that was what was the young girl who she like dies in the first episode, the young sister. Nell.
Oh, the bent neck
Nell.
lady?
That was sort of like Nell's story when she comes
Yeah.
back as a ghost and sort of, you know, talks about the family and lets them know how much she loves them and like that was perfect for me because that sort of brought that kind of element to it. It brought this small element of healing to this broken family, which was
Yeah.
really nice.
Destroyed me though. Right when that happened, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna play in the second one.
Well, like I said, the second one's going to be more of a mystery. There's going to be elements of this was a lot the first one was a lot of the Haunting of Hill House. For the second episode, think about more along the ideas of Japanese horror, The Ring, The Grudge.
House.
Does anyone
Uh,
want to play my character?
elements of like now the evil's out of the house, right? Because the one thing, and I mentioned this in the chat, the one thing is that she actually, despite my dice rolls, which were horrible, it actually worked out narratively because she wasn't trying to kill you all. She was just trying to terrify you enough so you would get the key and get out of the house, because the key had her spirit in it, and once you got it out of the house, she's out there now. It was that moment at the end of the ring where the little boy was like, "What, you set her free?"
God.
So I wanted to sort of do that to sort of open the door for kind of a sequel where now the ghost of Elaine is out in the world wreaking havoc, and you got to find out the origins of, more about the origins of how all of this happened in order to stop it from continuing to happen.
Can
So
we have one little teaser of what part 2 is going to be called?
Electric Boogaloo.
a Skeleton Key Electric Boogaloo. I'll be entirely honest, on Anna, I haven't settled on a title yet. I was just going to sort of go Skeleton Key Part 2.
Okay.
But
I wondered if you were going to go with the Skeleton Keys. If there'd be more.
You don't want to go with
I was
Fast and the Furious?
Thinking
two
about
skeletons, 2 skis.
I love you, Daryl. Don't ever change.
Well, to be honest, I got that from the Spooky Science Sisters podcast, because they did like they did an episode called Short and Spooky, and then they had to do a second one, so there are 2 short, 2 spooky, and then they did a third one, and they're like Short and Spooky Tokyo Drift, and so they're just gonna keep going with that. So I'm like, yeah.
Oh my god.
That's
amazing.
awesome.
Shout out to them.
Actually, I do have a title. I just hadn't worked out exactly what I hadn't exactly worked out that this is not a finalized title, and this is not exactly what it's going to be.
Oh my god.
But I was thinking Skeleton Key 2, Possession.
Oh no.
Because I want to play a little bit with Doreen continuing to be a ghost and being able to possess people, because I think that's fun, but also Elaine being able to do it out in the world.
Oh
So
god.
the idea that you guys could be, like just passing a total stranger on the street, and then all of a sudden that total stranger cocks their head in a certain way and starts talking in the little girl's voice to you.
God.
Like stuff like that.
That reminds me of, do you guys remember the movie Fallen with Denzel Washington?
Yeah, that's one of my inspirations for that.
Okay,
idea.
yeah, because that's what that reminds me of, is the demon like just like possessing different people and talking to him as he's like walking down the street, and he's just like, "What the hell is happening?"
Yeah, that's one of the main things I want to do to y'all.
Oh god. Well, look forward to that, you guys, on the same channel in October. Ugh.
Yeah. I'm sorry. So, Lisa, we haven't heard much from you. Do you have any questions about or anything you want to answer about Goblin Town, or?
Since it was hijacked and became a Skeleton Key podcast or stream.
Yeah. I don't want to hijack it. That's what I'm trying to do.
Stop talking about it.
That's what I'm trying to do.
I mean, Daryl, did you have more plans for Moo? I guess that's my question.
What did I want from Moo?
She's dead.
No, but I mean, if she'd survived.
Oh, okay. I was like,
he says he's bitter about
coming back in this campaign now.
Look. This is a fantasy setting, right? Fictional setting. No one's ever really dead. I can bring back anybody I
No,
like.
don't.
It's true.
Yeah.
If
That's-
Hint,
murder
hint.
comes
Wink,
back,
wink. Um. I'm trying to think. I don't think I had anything specific for Moo for continuing forward. But I think that I mean this is sort of projecting. I don't know how long we're going to continue to play this campaign. We may continue on for years and years. We may just stop, whatever. Um, but my original input and my mustache. I think my mustache is tickling my nose. That's why I keep scratching my nose. Um, the my original sort of core concept for Goblin Town was that remember that you were originally supposed to save the goblin community, right? That a Bargus was going to slowly off the leaders of the goblin guilds one by one, and that would become a sort of a countdown. If it hit 0, then the relationship between the goblins and the rest of the town would be broken, and then they would separate or just lose complete trust. And so that would sort of create create a certain dynamic later when Kulak actually shows up. And so from now on, I've just sort of kept that in the back of my head. Like every time you guys do something with whatever community, you are slowly building some sort of relationship. You're going to have some sort of dynamic going on between Clark and Oak Ridge and the goblins and the humans and everybody in it. So that when Kulak finally shows up, right, he's going to have to you're going to either have a resistance to Kulak and be able to fight back against him more or less successfully, or something else much more complicated will happen. So that's just my thing. So for Moo, right? I'm trying to think like, okay, now that she's gone, right? That creates a kind of ripple effect. And for myself, if they had survived, then that would have created a different kind of path for you. Right, Moo would have either helped you or hurt you. I'm not quite sure which, though.
Yeah. 'Cause I'll be honest too. Up until the last second of the Zone of Truth, I was positive she was working for Kulog and trying to either collect artifacts for him or to turn that mesa into some kind of base. Up until the last second, and then by then, I thought we were just too committed. It's like we have to take her out at this point. We don't have any other choice now. But I was positive up until that point that she was still working for Kulag.
And I was convinced that leaving her alive would have jeopardized our party and other surrounding communities too. We talked about it at length in the campaign, but we didn't see any alternative at that time. And so we sent in the finisher.
The eraser.
The eraser.
Or the equalizer. I'm thinking of the equalizer. I want the equalizer. Yeah, my parents watch that sometimes, so I get to see Queen Latifah, manhandle people.
I do wonder about Whistle though, and if that's going to have some kind of impact with how we handled Whistle, and if Whistle was kind of calculative in trying to convince us that we had convinced her to stop, looting artifacts and to get away from the team that she had been with for however long and do the right thing and get on a good path if she had convinced us of that so that we wouldn't kill her and then we let her loose. So I'm always a little slightly worried about that.
For Gredal, it was a very, very simple thing. Moo didn't give a shit that she was hurting people. She made that very, very clear in the Zone of Truth. Like she was going to keep doing this whether it was hurting people or not.
Right.
Whistle made it clear that she felt bad about it, but didn't see any other way out. Which I was like, I can understand. That's what subsistence looting is.
Right.
in archaeology. So that's why I was like, let's get her a job. Let's find her employment. Let's get her to work as an assistant for a shippo, or let's get her to, let's get her to work as a field tech with the shovel hobs or something like that, where she can, earn a living and do archaeology the right way and not end up hurting anybody. But instead, she just sort of vanished into the night.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Hopefully, she'll show that even though we had to take Moo out for obvious reasons, we're trying to do the right thing with her.
Yeah. And I'm very, very grateful and thankful for the DM that we have who isn't penalizing me for killing murder or rather murdering murder and not turning that into a butterfly effect by any means at all. And having that be a nice little hiccup that means nothing.
I'm trying to remember. I think I did have a butterfly effect ready for murder, but I can't remember what I wanted.
No, you didn't. We talked about this.
I think it was like her mother shows up or something.
Well, that was a
like
joke.
It's like was that a joke? Oh.
Well, because it's like so. I mean, oh wow, I didn't realize I had that many people. Okay. So the I mean just again like the way I tried to punish you with a threat. This is how I wanted to punish you for murdering murder. Was to actually have murder's like mother show up and be like, "Where is my daughter, my lovely daughter?"
Oh God.
But that was too mean. I felt that was a little bit too vindictive.
As long as this doesn't reach Kulog, I guess.
I think we've also got that kind of a behavior pattern set, because we kind of did the exact same thing to Moo and Whistle that we did to the two bandits. Like one of the bandits, the one that showed no remorse, we just straight up killed right away. The other one, I cast Charm Person on and be like, okay, here, go turn yourself in and then find a better job and find a job that doesn't hurt people and
So this
let
is
us
your
know.
MO?
We can help you out with that.
I'm surprised how messed up Dagmar was and then Anna as the player for killing the wonderful person that is on the screen right now.
Oh wait, I remember now. I think I remember what I wanted. Okay, I better write this down to take a note.
No.
Oh my gosh.
What have I done? My big mouth?
It reminded me.
Damn it. That sort of kind of wrecked Dagmar in a way that I wasn't planning on and didn't expect at all. That was also my first NPC death. As a relatively new or very new player at D&D, that was my first kill. So that messed me up. And then for Dagmar, I don't think she ever wanted to experience something like that again, since her past history and her lore that, I'm not going to spoil on here, but hopefully eventually we can get to that. And I don't think she ever expected to go through that again. I think she hoped it wouldn't happen again. And so that messed me up, and I noticed, like, with our group here, it's kind of interesting because, like, as the barbarian, I picked barbarian, and I was fully intending to be this intimidating character that talked big, but also had big actions and murder hobo, whatever. And then we've got, but she's actually kind of fragmented and broken a little bit on the inside, and I think Genera is a little bit the same way, what with her backstory and her past, right? And then you've got the passive Gradal, who actually has a dangerous streak and a dangerous look in his eye at times. And then a theory, like with what these roles are doing to your character and turning a theory into quite a quite an ex-thief to mess with, right? It's kind of interesting. The folks you have to worry about the most from our party are kind of the ones you'd least expect.
The two smallest ones in the group.
Yeah.
Well, you can ask the there's that whole idea. I mean, you can ask me any Gretel questions you want, but there's that whole idea of kind of like from Doctor Who. If you've ever seen like the 11th Doctor, a good man goes to war. Beware the wrath of a kind person.
Mm,
Kind of thing there, and I think that's going on a little bit with both Theory and Gretel.
yeah.
Because if someone's fragmented and broken, you kind of and it's and they wear it on the outside, and it can be seen, then you kind of know, I better give this person some distance. But if you have someone
Mhm.
who's like a Theory and myself, who are kind of smaller, kind, more open, but then you push and you push and you push and you
Mhm.
push.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's survival.
Yeah. Yeah, I can certainly understand that. And then also I neglected mentioning Zavarin, but we have yet to learn about that one. That one could go both
You
ways.
Mhm.
could.
I still haven't figured that out.
And if anybody has any Gretel questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, what's the deal with your hair dye?
Oh. No, I can actually answer that.
Oh.
Gretel's name means gray sheep,
Yeah.
and it wasn't. Here's this is a little bit of a bomb that you guys don't know about yet.
Oh my god.
That wasn't always Gretel's name.
Oh.
He took on that name because the side effects, if you survive the plague, because he caught the plague that everybody else, but he survived it, the plague that wiped out his family, he survived it. It drains all of the color from your body. Your hair, your skin, everything turns
Oh my
gray and
god.
monochrome. And so you notice he can't really do anything about his skin, but like other things like his hair and whatnot, he can dye that, and he can with his flowers he can bring a lot of bright colors to the world that he himself can't anymore because he's completely monochromed and washed out.
Aw.
My jaw fucking dropped. Oh my god. It makes sense now, especially too, because I remember when I made your token at the start, I gave Gretel green skin.
And I came
And
back
then
and I said, "Can you make it gray, please?"
yeah, and I was like, oh, I guess there are goblins with gray skin. I mean, in this homebrew universe, who knows? I wasn't expecting that, and then I finally did it, and then I didn't think about it again. But oh my god, that makes so much sense now. Cute. And
So I
Yeah.
wonder then, like, how, because it's clear that all of our characters have some kind of complicated and in some cases tragic backstory, and I wonder how that will end up all interconnecting into this world, and how each of us are contributing to the storyline, and how Daryl will take the characters and the information that we give him
Mhm.
and kind of weave these threads together to where it's all interlinked in some way. And I'm interested to see what happens.
What
Carol's
indeed?
like, I am currently weaving.
I'm trying to remember if I had a name for the elf. I know I had a name for murder, but I don't think I have a name for the elf.
We're moved on from that.
No, not if I can help it.
Yeah, I am really curious about that. And also too, just out of curiosity, which of us still have living family members or characters?
That's up to
I
you.
can say I'd raise my hand, but you know.
I do.
Theory does, okay. And then generic clearly
We know
does.
Janera does. Yeah.
Yeah, we know generic does. And then what about Gradle? Because that's I know Gradle mentioned having a sweetheart at one point when we had just finished killing a tick monster. What was that?
I don't want to say because I don't want
Damn
to
it.
spoil anything.
Gosh.
But what I can tell you, because it's something that I did say when I explained a little bit of, because Gretel was very open about his backstory, and like the second episode, as soon as
Yeah.
Dagmar showed up, it was like, yeah, my whole family was killed with the plague. Truth
Yeah.
is, and when he was talking about it, when he got sick, he was quarantined. He was kicked out of the city and taken to these druids out in the woods to be treated. And when he came back, the entire city had been emptied out, and there was this potter's field full of flowers.
Mhm.
So he just assumed that his entire family had died because there was no trace of them, and there was this huge field full of all these people that had died in his absence. So, Gretel, the truth is, yes, does Gretel have any living family members? He might. He might. He doesn't know. He might not.
Oh my god. We've got some very
I'm
Did
gonna
you
make
draw on the screen, Daryl?
yeah, I'm gonna make Midnight Dahlia like your like distant, twice removed, like second, third, fourth cousin, whatever.
That'd be awesome. But yeah, I'm super curious to go on like character arcs for all of our characters and to explore more of their backstories and stuff. I was talking to somebody else about this recently and just kind of explaining the Goblin Town campaign and why this campaign is so special. And like when you're playing homebrew and you're asking all of your players to create their own backstories and lore and weaving it all together into your giant world, and allowing for those different lores and different cultures created by your players to inhabit your world, it's so cool and it feels like I'm so excited to meet characters from your guys' backstories and explore regions that you got your characters grew up in or whatever. It's like homecoming, and I really want to be part of that. I really want to see that.
So speaking of worlds,
Not yours, not yours. I don't
no,
want to
no,
see
no,
yours.
no,
But
no. Because Daryl has put this map up. Do you want to talk about this map, Daryl?
oh no.
Oh wait, I'm okay. Give me a second. I'm on the wrong layer. Oh,
I don't know if I want to meet
So
your
is this
brother,
during the
Sarah.
Jurassic?
Well, I was just curious because he's popped it up a couple of times, and I was wondering if anybody like was paying attention to it because I actually I was present when Daryl was making this map. So
Is this North America?
Yeah, we're somewhere 100 million years ago. I had to. Not quite sure.
okay, no. I gotta erase this. Oh,
50
I'm on the wrong
million.
layer. I keep getting on the wrong dang layer. That's irritating.
What's going on?
We're the geologists.
Yeah, right?
Geologists.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Okay, and then I'm trying to remember if I remember. Okay, so then
Oh.
this is Goblin Town. Right here's Goblin Town.
Waiting for that to pop up on screen. This is the first time I've seen exactly where Dagmar's from, so that's really cool. Wait a second, where's Oak Ridge?
Okay, so the Oak Ridge is just gonna be like right here. That's gonna be Oak Ridge.
Waiting for that to pop up. Okay, okay. So I am from pretty far.
Unless you want to be from closer, it's up to you.
No. Because she's from some northern territory, so that works out.
I remember Westgate is somewhere around the A and the R of Dagmar, somewhere in the Mar of Dagmar. Like there's the forest to like the
Further over,
at
further
the
over.
further over.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I have that labeled actually. This is so that's the
Oh yeah,
thing.
we've got a labeled one.
So this was the original idea. Um,
Yeah.
this was the original idea. And then for whatever this is when I was talking with Bri about her backstory, and then I just decided to like expand the map. So we're gonna go back over.
Carol does the opposite of enhance.
Yeah, so
Make it bigger.
Westgate's gonna be like Westgate's gonna be like about there. That's
Westgate's
Westgate.
actually east of Clark. That's what threw me, is because it's called Westgate, but it's east of Clark.
West of Gate, but east of Clark.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I
That's what
called it
threw me.
Eastgate because the original map, if you looked at like all the cities are east, further east.
hmm
That's kind of like how the Midwest is called the
Yeah.
Midwest.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you squint, it's kind of like North America.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was the
that's what it
joke.
looks like during the Jurassic or
Yeah.
earlier.
So I
Yeah.
had to like smush it a whole bunch. Like this is too much. And that's actually also the joke because so we're gonna do we're gonna do we're gonna do we're gonna make Generis from here. Which means that Genera is from the Las Vegas area. It's very, very meta.
You put me in Washington.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yep, part of the Northwest.
Frick.
So that I'm gonna make all of your villagers are gonna wear flannel.
So if we go like down near this sort of extended version of the Baja Peninsula, near where what LA would be, that would be where we'll find an all-knowing, all-powerful
Well, no,
being
because
behind a curtain.
don't you see? Can't you tell the joke? The West Coast fell into the ocean already due to an earthquake.
Oh, okay. No.
Oh my god.
But
what you're
I
saying
will
is
say,
this
looking at
isn't the
this, I'm
past,
very
this is
happy
the
that you
future.
destroyed Florida.
Oh, Florida's gone. Well, that's
Yeah.
the thing.
Oh
It's
my
kind of like a
God.
weird tilt, kind of like. So I don't know if it's Florida's not there or so much as it's squished into something else.
Just make me believe for a minute that I live in a world without Florida.
It's not there, yeah.
Florida man.
So does that so where would Rhode Island be on this? Is that where Gradall is? Or from?
No. I chose Westgate because it was a city that was close by, but I think it probably would be up near where in the far like if this is like Maine right here, I'd be down near the tip of where like Massachusetts would be. I'm trying to
Are you gonna draw?
I'm not in roll 20, but I can be.
Is this map a work in progress? It looks amazing.
Yeah, but that was my joke, right? Like, if you saw that tweet like a while back, like I go too hard sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, like, that topo map you did of, like, the Oak Ridge, like, Mesa area. Jeez,
Well, I'm
that
gonna do that
one.
again with this one. That's what I mean. Like I'm going way too hard.
Oh my god.
Trust me,
Like, I
it
think
was
about framing
interesting seeing
that.
his process where he was just like, "Oh, this is not right." He's like, "No, now it's like going this way, and now you got to add some of this and make it look a little better."
Oh my god.
I think it would be probably like right here, right, Daryl?
Wait, are you gonna? Okay,
I
so
put
this
a
is
little purple square.
so this is where it's kind of weird, right? Because if you're actually extending out like well, because the way I look at it is that that would mean this big lake area would be like the Great Lakes. That means technically if you were to actually do this as a sort of like literal North America thing, that means like this is North America right here. Okay. So that means
Oh, I
you
see.
right, like it's
So I would be more like right here then.
yeah, so then this is like a weird like Florida would end up being like something like this. Like it either got split or
Okay.
smushed and then so this is like all of this over here is like the European continent like coming over and like smacking up on top of it.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it's kind of weird. Um right, and this is again like how I tried to sort of warp it a little bit. Like so Baja California should be like just this it actually should only be like this much. That's would be Baja.
Yeah.
And this shouldn't be here. Um Easter Island is all of a sudden big, right? And like right, Hudson there's no Hudson Bay here anymore. And like well Hudson Bay would be kind of like that over here. But the thing is though now like what I mean by I go too hard, I'm like now that I've drawn this, am I gonna go with a Mercator projection or what is it? What are the different kinds of ways of doing the globe on a flat surface?
Oh my god. You need to publish this. You know that.
But like I can't publish it until I decide that first. And then I have to decide like where is the equator? Okay.
Oh
Then I have to
gosh.
go all the way around the Earth, or not the Earth, the planet, and I have to decide like, okay, is this planet similarly sized as Earth? And that means I have to do a similar gravitational field. Like, oh no.
Oh my god.
Our DM is such a nerd.
Yeah. We love him.
It's just the granularity. Ugh.
Can we have any spoilers, hints, or anything at all for what you have planned for the con? Since on our own server, that's kind of the hot topic right now, and you know what folks have in mind for the con.
Well, my original idea for Archaeo Gaming Con 2022 was to play Conan. What was it? I can't remember. Forbidden Lands. I can't remember the name of the game. Because I thought that the writing that Robert E. Howard did for Conan was kind of interesting because it did a little bit of similar things that this map did. Was he wrote an essay that was unpublished. It was published posthumously. I'm gonna mess up pronunciation of that word. Posthumously, that basically explained that the Hyperborea was basically our Earth, our cultures, our races, but like in this distant past, which was kind of interesting, but also kind of weird because then that means all of the weird descriptions he has in his stories are like literal descriptions of people now. And he it's kind of literally like these are the Jews, like these are the Greeks, these are like Egyptians and stuff like that, but they just have weird names in it. And it's kind of I was kind of interested in seeing how that sort of carried on in sort of modern iterations. But then Sarah was like, but Sarah has mentioned several times that she wanted me to play Fatal Frame. So
Yeah.
I picked up Fatal Frame. I bought it and I've been playing it like 15, 20, 30 minutes at a time. Um, and streaming it, but only one person's been watching so far because I do it like
Ah,
at weird times.
you always do everything at a weird time. So are you showing those recordings during the stream for Fatal Frame, or not the stream, during the con for Fatal Frame,
No,
or
I'm just playing it. I'm doing a playthrough right now to understand what is the
Okay.
game, and then that way when I do it
Gotcha.
again, that I can snap through really quick, or I can just replay scenarios. Because that's the thing, it has like chapters, and you can replay chapters to get a higher score, which I am gonna do. The fact that I don't take pictures of certain ghosts is beginning to irritate me. I'm about to rage quit sometimes, like, no, I missed the shot.
But what about for this campaign during the con?
Oh, well, I mean, like, did you guys
Yeah.
have like an idea for what you wanted to do for this during the con?
What? Didn't you say you have like a huge idea for the con, like something
Oh
that
no,
will
I meant the
cripple us?
conference. I meant the archaeological conference in the game. 'Cause you're
Oh.
in the archaeologist
Oh,
conference.
okay.
Oh my god, I never put that together.
Yeah, the Archicon.
Wow.
The
thought you
conference
meant
within the conference within the
Yeah.
conference.
Am I the only one?
the Archicon conference this summer, and then there's the OakGacon, which is the Oak Ridge.
Oh,
Right.
and they just sort of like irritate everybody. The name of the university is not Oak Ridge, it's Oak Bridge.
Oh god.
And so just to make fun of Cambridge, so there's Oak Bridge, and so there's a bridge in the town that's gonna originally been made out of oak, and so that'll be the namesake of the university.
That's cool.
Oh my god. I'm gonna have to go back and correct my notes now. Yeah, yeah, I thought you were talking about the con. That's why all of us were like, "Oh, you're taking one from Skeleton Key."
Oh! I cannot wait. I cannot. I have to be drawing things and stuff like that. I only have a handful of things, so that when we actually play another session, I am so excited.
For which con?
For the one that you'll be
So-
in, Anna, of course.
So I'm afraid I'm going to go ahead and sign
confusing.
off because I'd like to, since my parents are visiting for Memorial Day, I'd like to spend a little bit of time with them before they have to head back up to New Hampshire tomorrow.
Okay.
So I'm going to sign off early if that's cool with everybody.
That's
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
But this was great. It was so great to see all of you again. I miss you all so much.
I miss you too.
Great to see you
Great.
too.
Hopefully, we can do an actual game session next week. We'll see.
We'll see.
All right,
Right.
bye.
Okay.
Later.
Hugs.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good
Bye.
night.
Night. Okay, now I gotta replace him.
I'm still on the
Character
Discord.
Okay, well then
Right.
get off. Your picture's no longer on the stream. Get off.
I'm signing off now. I'm signing off now. All right, see ya. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my god, that's amazing.
Oh wait, no. I'm supposed to do the other picture. I have to do the gray picture, right? Okay.
What? Yeah. Other picture. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the in-game conference too, though. That's gonna be fun.
So we're gonna do the in-game conference during the con.
That would be so
That
trippy.
would be perfect, right? I was thinking about that myself too, but I don't think I can wait that long.
Fair.
That'd be so fucking funny though.
Very meta.
Yeah, we could like talk about the panels that we witnessed in. So like, say we've got like a Assassin's Creed panel or something right before Goblin Town, and we can just be like, "Oh yeah, the Assassin's Creed panel was very interesting. What when that one hobgoblin took the stage and started talking about the new Viking Valhalla game or whatever?"
Well, one of the things that I wanted to do is I have to come up with workshops for you at the conference. So I need to be, I haven't made a list yet, but now that I'm thinking about it, I have to be making the list now. So let me start to write down some notes. Conference. So at a conference, of course, the first workshop we have to do is let's see, trowel sharpening techniques and maintenance. Right.
Dagmar wants to go to one that is a show of strength.
Okay, so I have to be okay. We have to do
Sandbag carrying workshop.
No, I was gonna do like a dirt sifting. So dirt sifting, a dirt sifting a competition. See how fast you can sift the dirt. Okay,
Oh my god.
so we have a mound of dirt. Who can sift through it the fastest wins. We could do backfill. Okay, we have to do a backfill
Oh
thing.
my
Okay,
god.
maybe that'll be the one. Like you have like an open unit, and you have to put the backfill back in and see who can do it the fastest. Um,
Oh my gosh.
And the winner gets to meet the person that we're trying to meet. I forget her name. It's like Jessica or Jennifer or something or other,
Jennifer
but
Rath, Professor Rath.
Professor Wrath, yeah, the winner of all, like the one that wins the most of these workshop competitions gets to meet Dr. Wrath, and none of us can do it. And then all of a sudden, Fred appears. I would
I'm
quit.
still-
I would just quit.
Aww.
He just becomes the hero of the story.
Fred is the hero of the story.
No. I'm excited though.
Gail.
No, Gail.
It was the hero.
Only when we're hungry. How I know it's hard to predict things as DM, but since we haven't entered the conference yet, we haven't entered the university yet. With what you know about that location and all you have planned for it, how many episodes do you expect that our party will spend there?
Okay, so this is the thing. It depends on what you're gonna do. Because once again, I'm not gonna give you a straight decision. I'm gonna give you this awkward, complicated, torturous decision to make about what to do.
One of these times, I'm just gonna go in there and I'm gonna be like, "Well, I'm gonna burn it all down. What do I need to roll?"
If you want to do that, you can do that. I'm not gonna stop you. I mean, the burning of Oak Bridge University. University of Oak Bridge. Wait. I have to look this up. Wait, is Cambridge University or University of Cambridge?
University of Cambridge, I think.
Okay, then that's how it's gonna be titled.
Oh my god.
That always irritates me. I can never get it right in something. Yeah, University of Cambridge. Okay. University. So it's the University of Oak Bridge.
Oh my god.
Um.
I think I have it in my journal, and like, I write all my notes from the perspective of Dagmar as if she's jotting all this down, right? I think she called it pretentious university. I think that's how she wrote it down.
Well, the Professor Goblin, is from a prestigious university.
Prestigious. Oh my god. She must not have remembered that.
So the university has the potential to be quite long. Let's put it that way. It depends on what you decide.
Will any of us die there? Is there danger afoot?
Depends on how you roll. If you roll really well, no
Oh my
danger
god,
at
we're
all.
gonna have to roll there. Shoot.
I'm just waiting for a theory to pickpocket everybody.
It's just doors.
The conference will have like security escort her off the premises and then she kills them.
But I mean, she's so good at sleight of hand, no one will probably even notice. She'll just like walk out like. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember if it's a Family Guy episode or if it was like The Simpsons or something, but where like somebody shoplifts and they're just like all bulky and stuff, and they're just like, and they just walk out because they've shoved everything like inside their clothing. And so you just have a theory like walking out, she's got like coins and stuff falling into her pockets, but nobody notices because she's just so stealthy.
She's like, I didn't even notice myself. I can't help it. It's my nature.
There's a couple times where they do that. I remember one, the Gummy to Milo, because Homer brought Marge to the candy convention and shoved all that stuff into Marge's like clothing, and then they split her open and it avalanched out. There was another one, I think. again, this is really old, a really old one. I think when Bart wanted Bloodstorm, the video game, and then there was a guy. It was Nelson Muntz. It was like 4-finger discount. Well, because they only had 4-finger discount, and had like stuff in his jacket and pockets and stuff like that. And that's when Bart gets caught. So
Okay.
you have it. Let's see, what can we do with the university? The University of Oakbridge. That's gonna confuse me so much.
So there's keynote speaker and workshops.
Yeah. I need to look up an archaeological conference so I can come up with all the workshops. Let's see.
I probably got a couple preliminary agendas and schedules and stuff I can send your way, PDFs of all that.
Okay. If you would be so kind.
Yeah. Got those lying around.
I'm trying to think. I've never been to an archaeological conference, so I'm trying to think what would be the thing that really inflames everybody.
Oh my gosh.
I'm trying to remember. Well, I mean, if you've got an Elizabeth Weiss situation, that'll get the whole conference up in arms. But
Well, I didn't want something actually that serious. I meant something like I meant something a little bit more petty, like how you do like what writing style you do, which is MLA, Chicago, what's the psychology one? I forgot what it is called. Anyways,
It's ALA.
Is it ALA? I don't remember.
I
But yeah.
think so.
What should you prefer,
It's like
footnotes or endnotes?
shit. Like they taught you like 5 different ways to fucking write inside a paper, and then you get into archaeology and you use none of them.
Why?
Why? Well, because so at least I can't speak for Lisa and Anna, obviously, but we use the SAA style guide. So like so this is Society of American Archaeology created their own style guide for citation and organization and everything of papers and
Wasn't that based
reports.
off of Chicago?
It is based on Chicago, but it's not. It's still
Yeah.
different. So it's like you still had to like rewire your brain to make sure that you were citing things correctly and referencing things correctly, because like when I first started this and having to write reports and stuff, I was like, I turn in pieces and my bosses would be like, what style are you using? I'm all like, the one that I learned in school that I was required to use for all of my papers, which was the like all of my anthropology classes used the psychology guidelines for some reason. And I don't know why, but that's the one that they all preferred. So I'm like, okay. And so my boss was like, no, go pull up the SAA fucking guideline. We're like, if we have our own guidelines, why are none of the anthropology and archaeology professors using this for their students to write papers? And I don't know if it's just easier APA, yeah, not LAA. I don't know if it's just easier to keep something similar to what other courses are using. I don't know. And I think the only time I had to use Chicago style was for history. And everything else was either APA or MLA.
Yeah, in my undergrad, they had us do Chicago the whole way through. And then, of course, switching to SAA after.
Yeah.
It was always Chicago for me, and then SAA.
Yeah.
Well, then again, I also go to school in Nevada, so we're like bottom of the totem pole.
Oh, don't be like that.
It's true though. Like, Our school district is like one of the last in the country.
No, you're not
Oh.
Idaho. You're not Idaho.
You're not Idaho. Actually, I think Idaho is ahead of us, and I think the only one that's
No.
worse than us is Alabama.
Dude, Idaho's
So-
worse than the country. Hold on.
Wait, what do you mean worse? How are you doing these rankings? I do not like rankings.
Based on commercials that they show in Washington. You're just like, Idaho is ranked worst school districts in all of the United States. Let's not be like Idaho, paid for by the Washington School District.
Oh my gosh.
It's amazing.
If you're talking about worst school districts in general, like public education, you have to fight me because I live in an area that's like the bottom of the barrel. Like every time they do any kind of rankings in America, like worst place to live for like public education and like quality of life, we're like at the bottom, like literally at the bottom. And like, oh well. I mean, I guess I like walking downtown, sort of.
Oh god. For like going back to like petty conference stuff though, I'd say that one thing that I hear about the most, trying to think about like not serious stuff that occurs at the conferences that I go to, it's stuff that's like, oh, I was told that they were going to get this catering, and this catering isn't even here, and I don't even like this food that they're serving, this backup plan for food. Or when they run out of coffee for the coffee bars in the morning, people lose their minds at that. And then, Bri, when we were in Philly, there's the main conference hotel. What happened to the hotel?
Oh, so the boiler went out or something. They lost heat. So, but it was only in like one part of the hotel. So then they had to like move people and move rooms. And we were just like, I'm so glad we didn't stay at the Marriott.
Yeah. But like that email that they sent out where like the conference runners, not the hotel, the conference runners were apologizing for the hotel, like that went across fucking Twitter. People were talking about that.
Yeah.
So that was
And I
pretty
mean,
funny.
like, and obviously, like, I mean, you could do what you want with this, Daryl, but obviously for SHA, you know, we had the whole debacle and issue of they're doing solely in person, like them just dropping the whole, like, the pandemic's over, we're done, we're just going to do in person, we're not even going to offer virtual. So it's like, we're not going to accommodate people that don't want to risk their health or like their family members to travel and stuff. Like that's the reason why Mike ended up not coming, and the reason why Bill didn't go was because they didn't want to risk it. And there was also this whole like issue of, were they really verifying people were vaccinated and all of that, or you know, we're letting non-vaccinated people come, they just gotta wear a different sticker.
Yeah, they weren't prioritizing safety.
Yeah. And so that was an issue. So like that was one of the main reasons why we didn't spend as much time there, because we're just like, I mean, we're here because we've already paid for it, but
Yeah.
I had similar concerns when I went to Comic-Con Revolution a few days or last week.
yeah.
Because it's one of those things where like one day was really packed, and then like the next day it did the thing. So I need to ask you, like the next day, like empty. I mean, like it's me and like 4 other people in the audience of a room that's supposed to hold like 100 people, and it's like we're just listening to like titans in the industry, and it's just like there's almost as many people on the stage as there is in the audience. So I'm like, oh no, this is fine. I don't care.
Oh, jeez.
But that's the thing, is because when people think of cons, they are thinking of like the cosplay, they're thinking of the movies, and for my experience at this one, this is really sort of about the comic books and the creators themselves, and some of these people are kind of like older. Like Jerry Conway was a person that I got a signature on a comic book. He helped. I didn't get his signature on the poster. I missed him. He was just out that door. for that one. But he was the one that wrote the story for when Gwen Stacy died in Spider-Man. So that is like that's like early 1980s or something like that. Like,
I
so
think I
he's
saw
been
you post
around a
on Twitter about
long
that.
time. Um,
Yeah.
so like people don't like he also did the clone saga, like when Spider-Man had clones and stuff like that. So like people nowadays just don't remember that. So it's really kind of niche. And so that's
Mhm.
actually what I want to ask you is like when you go to the conferences, do you actually ever go into a room and you're like, wow, this is going to be great. This is a famous person. They have so much to say. And you walk into the room and it's like two other people.
Mm,
There's been some sessions that I've been in where there's only a few people because it is something very niche.
yeah. Or like,
Hmm.
cause like for it's a little bit hard. So like for archaeology conferences, all the panels and stuff, there's not very many like everybody is in this one room to see this one panel or to see this one talk. It's more of like symposiums, so you have multiple talks and multiple panels all occurring within a bracket all together in the same room. And so sometimes you'll get a big name archaeologist in kind of an unpopular symposium. And so if it's an unpopular symposium covering an unpopular topic, they might not have as many people in the room as they would if they were doing like a keynote thing or something where people are specifically going to hear from this person. So that's just been my experience with that if you stick a very, very well-known archaeologist in an unpopular symposium, then they're just going to get the same amount of audience pretty much that the other speakers would get.
Well, and then also, like, the way that most archaeology conferences, and it's the same with other fields too, that they schedule, so like Anna said, they have the symposiums, but they'll schedule like more than one to occur like
Mhm.
in a time frame. So it's like people have to then decide what they're more interested in. And
Yeah.
so instead of having it broken up where you just like have a symposium with this set of talks during this time frame and then have the next symposium so people can like go to the ones they want to and don't have to worry about like picking and choosing and having to run it back and forth between rooms, because that's one of the issues is like you'll want to hear talk in one symposium, and then as soon as that's over, you got to run to the other side of the conference hall to get to the next symposium for the next talk in that one that you want to hear. But you don't care about anything else in that symposium. It's just the one panel or talk or presentation.
Yeah, that's
And
similar to my
so,
experience as well. It's just that I guess the con that I was at is just a smaller one.
yeah. And I mean, sometimes that happens too, where like, or, you know, I've been to comic conventions where um you go expecting something, and like then they'll announce like same day that somebody that was going to talk that day that was going to be a part of the panel is not going to make it, and people are there to see that person. So like you can still go to the panel to the talk because they're still putting it on. It's just that one person's not going to be there anymore. And so then you have people that were planning to be there just because of that one person then not show up. So, you know, you have a room that was meant to hold 100 people and there's only like maybe, you know, 50 people there.
Mm.
But I've also noticed that, like, I don't know, like when it does come to niche things, like people only, there's not the same level of interest. So like
Yeah, there's
I've been in plenty of panels and stuff where it's like you just have like a small group of people because it's just this one subject that they're interested in. Like I went to one Comic Con where they had a talk about fan fiction, and it's like, okay, this is interesting. I want to go listen to this. And it was the same thing. Like, I just left a different panel that had, like, voice actors and stuff talking about the show that they're working on, and it was, like, jam-packed, but then you come into something like this, and it's like there's just this small group of people because there's only so many people that are actually interested in, writing fan fiction or reading fan fiction or understanding what goes into that and how you have to navigate that as being, copyrighted material that you're expanding on.
Mhm.
And so, only so many people are interested in that.
Anna, you've sent me these.
Yeah.
My overdrive is beginning. Now I have to type up my own pamphlet.
Oh no, I
with a
sent him
statement from
some
the
conference
president
agendas.
and like do it all out and then like print it, like just make it and then just put it on Discord server. I already have a list of archaeologists. Let me see. Let me pull up my list of archaeologists. This will
If you
be
do
the
that,
spoiler. I'll hold on a second. So
if you do that, I'm gonna print it out and put it in my Goblin Town D&D binder. So I even have like the Word document format that I used to make the agenda for ArgaCon 2021. So I could just send you that if you want to play around with it.
yeah, sure. I mean, whatever.
But yeah, I was looking at one of these conference agendas I have and like all of the different symposiums that they have listed and like maritime archaeology in my neck of the woods tends to draw a pretty small crowd, things like that.
Well, that's actually again spoilers, I suppose. I already want to have an underwater archaeologist trying to prove the aquatic ape theory.
Oh shit. And then gosh, I honestly don't know what to make of the Archeo Gaming Symposium from SHA because I thought that drew in a pretty decent crowd.
Yeah,
At the end.
it it did. And then so that's like where that scenario comes in that I was talking about before, where it's like you have this talk that's taking place and people are interested in it, but some of them are there for a specific person or a specific talk. So it's like we had a really good turnout for the whole session, but towards the end was supposed to be the Assassin's Creed presentation talk.
Right, yeah.
And so it was like towards the end of I don't know who had gone before the Assassin's Creed talk. I can't remember if it was me or if it was somebody else. But you could see the room filling up with more people, as the presentation before the Assassin's Creed panel presentation is supposed to take place. And then, Chris Ann gets up there and she's like, okay, that's the end. Unfortunately, the Assassin's Creed panel is canceled because the presenter couldn't make it or canceled or whatever. And they just have it very like, yeah, and they're just like so sad. You just have like, oh, and people just like leave. And then you have people that like weren't there at the announcement and come in and they're like, did I miss the Assassin's Creed panel?
Yeah.
Like, no, he didn't come. And they're like, oh,
yeah.
that was the only thing I cared about.
We had like an audible like aw from
Yeah.
the entire freaking crowd. Like
Yeah.
it was kind of weird. Yeah. So if we had been smart, we would have put that first.
Right. But I mean, you don't know how many of those people were like didn't have any interest in any of the other sessions taking place, and they're like, oh, let's just go to this one and sit through the whole thing until we get to the Assassin's Creed thing. And if we had like already announced that it was canceled, then all those people would have left.
That's true. That's true too. Yeah. And we also had like we had a member in the audience just for like conference things, and it might not apply to the conference in our campaign, but like we had a person in the audience live tweeting every single presentation.
Yes, it was awesome.
So cool. Took pictures. Yeah.
Appreciated that.
Yeah. I never figured out which guy that was, but once we realized that was happening, we were all thrilled.
Yeah, and supposedly Sarah knows him, so it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, and this art here up on the screen, this was done by Waldo's Akimbo, who's done, I think, at least two pieces for our campaign thus far, and is a friend of Sarah's.
Yeah.
Very, very cool art.
Bonfire scene, what's up there right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, the bonfire.
That was really, really fun during the campaign.
Daryl.
How are you writing as me?
Because he's the all-powerful Mighty Oz.
God dang it. Ah, man. I'm very glad that we don't have any, because we've got like a fan art section on our website, and I'm very glad there's no Fred on there. And I'm also very glad that in me saying this, Daryl can't fix that, because if he does any art, it's not fan art at that point.
So I have to make a secret Twitter account and like a secret DeviantArt account and like put it on there.
No, we'll know.
I mean, he could commission it.
If you do a secret Twitter account and post Fred art, it'll just be too good, and then we'll know.
Yeah. Commissioning people, that sounds like a good idea. We can do Waldo's Akimbo or Ellie's
please
friend.
don't do
Yeah.
that to Waldo's. don't have them draw Fred.
Oh, I'm sure they'd love it.
But yeah, hopefully soon. Our plan is Brian, your friend is making us these things called PNG tubers, which are very, very cool because they're voice activated and they link up to every person who's playing, whatever character. And so as soon as you start talking, the character will bob up and then their mouth will open. And then when you stop talking, the mouth will close and the character will go back down. And I'm super, super excited for that. And I'm hoping that it helps the audience figure out a little bit quicker and easier who's who.
Mhm.
And I'm excited. I haven't seen the art with like the mouth open yet, but we've all seen it with the mouth closed, and that art looks really cool. It's up on the website now.
We're gonna have to redo the overlay though.
I'm already on it.
She's
I've
on
got a
top
really
of
cool.
things.
Yeah. Bry's seen it already. It's gonna have a really, really cool animation.
See that? It's up on the Goblin Town website.
For our characters, for the little like yeah. It's on
Okay.
if you go on the Goblin Town website and click on characters, it's up on the
Yeah.
top of the screen.
Alright, cool.
Yeah, they're super cute. I'm excited to use them. And there's one for Daryl too, so it's gonna be awesome. The artist just needs to fix the mustache.
I mean, you can show them this video. Yeah, under the characters page, you have it set up already.
Yeah. Yeah, I might alter things if our characters get, more complicated and more backstories and stuff comes out. I might edit this page and make each of the characters clickable and then go to like an individual page about the character eventually if I get like more info about each of our characters. But for now, it's just on the top and then you can scroll down and read more about people.
So do you want when you the mouse hover over, it pops up like they're talking?
Yeah, that's what it's going to be like on stream.
No, I mean like on the website.
Oh, I might do that. I might try to figure out how to code that. I used to go into coding, so that might be really cool. That's a good idea, Daryl. But yeah, I'm super excited.
Alrighty. We're almost out of time for our usual time slot here. Is there anything else we wanted to go over real quick?
I guess I have one final question from me anyway. What is your plans moving forward with Dainty Foot?
Dainty Foot?
Yes.
I've already decided on an accent and like a voice for Dainty Foot. I just need to practice it more.
Oh my god.
Um. And I guess. Okay. I guess I gotta say this now because if I don't tell you now, you might get messed up. Um. So I'm gonna give you a heads up, Anna, that
Okay.
because only you technically can understand the animals. So when you
Right.
finally talk to Dainty Foot, I'm gonna call you up on the phone. I'm gonna mute my mic, and then you'll just hear it through the phone. Okay.
That's actually really clever. I like that.
Okay.
That actually works out really well. You should do that more instead of like the texting that you usually do on Discord. That works out.
But the thing is, I have to like call everybody, like picking up, putting it down, picking it up, putting it down, and the thing is, so like the messaging, I copy paste sometimes.
Okay. Okay. Huh.
All right, so
Well, I'll make sure to have my ringtone on loud for when that happens, and then everybody will hear the dun 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 dun. Perfect.
okay, and then I'm trying to wait. I know I had this sort of fragment, the kind of the seed for an idea for an adventure with Dainty Foot, but the thing is, though, once again, I have to make the decision very complicated. So, and trying to think.
I guess that means we're gonna see the mayor again. Otherwise, Daintyfoot's traveling solo for some reason.
Yeah, I wonder what an adventure would be like with the mayor.
Oh my gosh.
I wonder how much health the mayor has.
Oh,
If I were to
I know how to mess with you. I know how to mess with you. Excellent, excellent. I have to write this down.
He's secretly immortal.
Oh, and I meant to say this earlier. This whole digging into Goblin Town episode, we didn't ask for this. Yes, this was brought on by the fact that Jake Archeo Ape, who plays Zavarin, isn't able to be here and is feeling under the weather right now. However, immediately after telling us that, Daryl was like, "Hey, can we do a digging in Goblin Town if that's okay with you guys?" And I'm starting to think he was just trying to get some ideas out of us on how to torture us moving forward. This is all according to plan.
But did you have fun?
Yeah.
He's got rid.
I
Yeah,
just miss
takes.
you guys. So I'll deal with it. Did you get the ideas you wanted, Daryl?
Partially, and also I going through my notes, I noticed a couple things that I need to like bring back around. Um, so this is kind of my hope for the campaign is that the longer it goes, the tighter the sort of spiral will become. Because to be honest, there's a couple things that I just make up on the fly. But the thing is, though, because I don't know the way I work, my mind works or whatever it is. Even little things that I just say on the spur of the moment that I'm just making up, I realize that I can take that and slot it back into something that happened before. And so what happens is the whole thing is gonna become this like circle, and it gets tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter until you realize like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I should have been paying attention. Maybe I should have been taking notes.
Well, you don't have to worry about that from this one.
Oh gosh.
I could still be a little bit better with my notes, though. Well, that's our takeaway for today.
Okay.
Write notes, keep notes.
Mm-hmm. And don't loot.
And don't loot.
Give a hoot, don't loot.
Give a
Yes.
hoot, don't loot. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Isn't that the isn't that the BLM slogan for their mascot?
The
Is
owl.
it, is it an
Yeah.
owl? Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Service,
But
I
didn't-
think.
Give
Give
a
a hoot, don't
hootie.
pollute.
Yeah.
Oh, give a hoot, don't pollute. Okay.
Mm.
That's Woodsy Owl with the
Yeah.
Park Service.
Yeah. Not as I would say a generous second to the almighty Smokey the Bear. I've got a giant Smokey Bear sticker on the back of my car and I'm proud of it.
You.
But yeah, give a hoot, don't loot. I like that.
Trowel.
Yeah.
A trowel sharpening
Oh
workshop.
my god, it could be what Trowley says.
Yes.
Oh my god.
You gotta tell Bill.
Yeah. Yeah, I might try to like find Clippy, like, because Clippy appears on like a tiny little like notebook paper thing, I think, and then it has like Comic Sans on it, if I remember correctly. I might try to mimic that and then put that with Trowley. Or I could do like a mini like Write in the Rain post-it note thingy and then put it on Comic Sans.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna work on that. That sounds funny. But yeah.
Good
Fantastic.
seeing everybody.
Yeah, it's good seeing everybody.
Nice catching up.
Absolutely. Yeah. This has been fun, and we have been inconsistent with our episodes because life has been so crazy, and this has been a very, very insane and awful year.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that we can get back to doing our games again, because God, I'm looking at my journal, and we would have like several episodes every month, and now it's like every other month or something like that.
Well, so
Yeah, because like I did one in January, and then the next one I put in my journal was April. So
Yeah.
hopefully we can have another session soon and get into a pattern, because it would be nice to have these back.
would be.
Sure.
So that means so I still have time here because I'm on the West Coast, the best coast. Sorry.
All on the best coast.
Oh wait, oh that's right. We're all of us here are Pacific time right now. Actually, so yeah, because Jake's not here, Mike's not here.
Yeah.
So I'm personally going to continue to stream a little bit later after I have dinner. So anyone out there is welcome to
Yeah.
join. I can either
Yeah.
continue to draw stuff meant for the university, which would be spoilers to a certain extent, but I'll try to kind of do stuff that's kind of mysterious. Otherwise, I'm gonna stream me playing
Fatal Frame.
yeah Fatal
Mm-hmm.
Frame, the Shrine Maiden of the Wet Crow.
Ooh.
Which is what the literal Japanese translation is, wet crow instead of black water. Which I get it, but it's kind of weird.
You should do both, because like on Twitch, because like Briar was kind of doing that a little bit yesterday, where you can do multiple things, and then when you stop doing one thing, you can when you change the game that you're playing, or the category that you have on Twitch, it turns it into a chapter. So that if somebody clicks on that stream, that past broadcast that you did, they can see the art chapter, and then they can see the Fatal Frame chapter.
Oh, that's cool. I'll
Yeah.
have to mess with the settings of that. Beep boop beep boop beep boop boop. Boop.
Yeah, and then save archives too. Like go into I'm gonna find that and figure out where exactly you can turn that on.
Well, let's see if they can for me.
You should be able to, because I'm not affiliated, so.
Oh.
But yeah, that sounds fun. I'll tune in for that for sure. And hopefully we can all get together and play a game next weekend if you guys are available.
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully Jake's better by then.
Hopefully Jake's better than yeah. But yeah, we'll have to check in about that, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you all, whoever's in the audience, if there are anybody, next week.
Right then,
Sounds like a plan.
everybody. Toodaloo!
Yeah, and then and then Daryl, your channel, plug your channel. If there's anybody here, plug your channel so that because you're gonna be streaming soon.
Emon? I mean, like, it's kind of like me, kind of like it's just my name right there. I mean, like, I'm right there.
So check that out and follow us all there.
Okay.
Brian plugged your own channel.
Do it. Okay. All right. Later, everybody.
Bye.
Toodaloo!